Welcome to Real Estate I Love It podcast. I'm Shelley Hoffman, real estate expert and community advisor. Join me and various guests who are expert in what they do, such as home inspectors, mortgage brokers, investors, wholesalers. There are so many aspects to our industry that most people are not aware of, and I'm here to help you learn about them. I'm an educator by trade, and this podcast is to educate you in the world of real estate. Hey everybody, it's Shelley Hoffman with another episode of Real Estate I Love It. And today I have Katrina Grady. And Katrina Grady is not only one of my very dear and best friends, but she is an amazing photographer. So I asked Katrina to be on the show with me today to talk about the importance of photography in real estate. How you doing today, Trine?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We did get a lot of snow here in Syracuse today. So that was fun, snow blowing and shoveling, but we both, you're at home and I'm at my office. So I guess you made it where you needed to be a lot easier than I made it where I needed to be.
It was a quick commute this morning.
So I asked you to come on live with me today and just talk a little bit about photography. And, you know, we both have been in a position where we've looked for houses. Obviously now I work in the industry where I help people sell and buy homes. But even before that, we would talk about the photos that we would see online for marketing, right? The home.
Right.
What do you see? Like, you have a much more intense eye for those things than I do. What do you typically see, good, bad, and the ugly, when you're looking at homes online?
Well, I know originally when I would get all excited about a home that I would see the pictures and I'm like, oh, let's go in. This is the one I want to see. And then I would get in there and be very disappointed by the home. And I found that the pictures were much more enhanced than I thought they would be. I wasn't quite expecting that when I was looking. So that made it, I mean, I understand the marketing behind that is to bring you into the home. But I found it more to be a letdown when I got into the home. So it automatically decreased the value of the home for me.
So, and we talk about that on my end when, you know, we talk to the sellers about putting the pictures out there, is you want to bring people in. That's the first showing. People see it online, just like you said, and we go through those pictures. And if you're not if you have no desire to go in from the pictures, you're probably not going to walk through the home, right? But as you said, if you get that high hopes and you think this room is going to be a large bedroom because the nightstand looks like the size of a dresser, it's a huge letdown when they come in. And so you take photos for me often, and that is one thing that we stress, correct, when we talk to the homeowners.
Oh, absolutely. And I work really hard to make sure the angles make the best of the room. I don't use the overly large lenses because that distorts, because between the distortion and then just the editing in general, you can do a lot in the post-production, the editing that just makes things look better, you know, more enhanced. And I try really hard not to do that. I mean, obviously you want to bring out the natural appearance, you know, but we do a lot of that. A lot of it is in the actual capturing of the room of the photo, but a lot of it is just in our preparation that goes into it beforehand as well.
And we have a lot of rules in our MLS that states what you can and cannot do, you know, to photos. You know, unless you're going to do virtual staging, those types of computerized things, in which case it's always mentioned. But it is interesting, like you said, as from taking buyers out to look at properties, we go through the pictures as well and then kind of walk through. But on the flip side of that, sometimes we tell people, just because the photos are unattractive, if you like everything else, the location, the amount of land, the layout of the home, don't judge the home by the pictures, right? It works both ways.
Absolutely. You know, there's only so much you can do without being, again, like we say, we don't want to lie. You don't want those pictures to tell you something that's not there. So, I mean, just some homes photograph really well, and then a lot of it's the lighting, the windows, you know, whether it's sunny, whether it's pouring rain, whether it's snow. Like right now, the light coming in from outside is 10 times stronger because of the snow out there. It's reflecting it all in. So there's so much that can go into, and it depends on the day. Right. You know, some days we get really lucky when we do photos. Other days I'm like, oh man, you know.
Some days I'll ask you, and I'm sure the people ask, can you drive by? It's a blue sky. It looks beautiful. The inside's not ready to be photographed yet, but can you at least get that get that blue sky on the outside, because that, you know, again, that's your front photo when you list the property that the buyer sees. So to see a beautiful sky automatically is like a little uplift to the property, but you don't have control over that. Yep. You know, the other thing you don't have control over, Katrina, is where the bathroom mirror is, right? When you're in.
No, you know, certain windows reflect really well, you know, mirrors and other places. Oh yeah, it's fun. You know, I get a good workout sometimes. You know, I'm not nearly as flexible as I need to be sometimes, but.
And not every property has to have professional photographers come in. The iPhones do justice, but we both know that if I have a listing and I try and take the pictures, and then I call you and you take the pictures, because of the equipment. And I want to go back to what you said as far as it's the preparation to take it. It's walking through the house, seeing the layout. What's the best angle for the room? You know, I can stand in a doorway, put my phone sideways and take that photo, but there's just something in the natural talent that you have and the other photographers that are taking the pictures of properties that adds an element of just awe. You want to feel good about the property. You want to feel good, especially the homeowners. You know, they stage, they declutter, they paint, they do things to make their house presentable. And to have those photos almost showcases all the hard work that they did to get that house ready to sell. Right. And sometimes they don't want to sell after they've seen your pictures. They look at your photos and think, maybe we'll stay here instead.
Right? It's not what we want the process to be, but for you anyway.
So going back to the process of taking the pictures, a lot of times we go on those listing appointments, we ask them to depersonalize and declutter. But what does the decluttering do for the photos as well? Because it's not just for the buyers walking through; it's a plus for the pictures.
It is. I mean, we've had some interesting things left on counters that sometimes we notice right away, sometimes we don't. It catches your eye. You know, you want your eye to go to the features of the house, not necessarily someone's mug on the counter. I mean, sometimes those things, and this will backtrack on me a little bit. Sometimes those things are fun. You know what I mean? Because then, like, if there's something in there that you connect with as a buyer, oh my gosh, like this family was just like me. That can also be, so you have to have that balance too, you know, to have a little bit of personality in a home, to show, you know. So I personally, you know, I don't mind seeing personal things in someone's home when I'm looking, because it feels lived into me. But I know that that's not the general rule for marketing for it. But it is neat to have those little things that are personal, but not so personal, you know, right. But we don't want the eye to just be looking at those things. So the whole decluttering process, sometimes it takes some work.
Yes. And sometimes we have a tote with us, right?
Sometimes we have a couple totes, you know.
And we take a before picture, and then we move everything off the counters, off the refrigerators, and put them in the tote, put the tote out, and then you take your photos, and then we put everything back. Because the other important piece is people still need to live in their homes. If they're not, they haven't vacated it, you still want them to feel like they can live in their home. But the photos really need to feel staged. It really feels like anybody can walk in there and make that house their own.
Right.
And that's the vision that they have. So if they walk into the house and now they see the little heart knickknacks on the tables and things, and they weren't in the photo, their first impression of that room is still kind of that generic feel. Can I make this mine? And then to your point, some people almost need to feel that to make it feel like it's a home. Some people need that to go away because they can't relate to something. All they see is the other person's stuff, and they can't visualize past it. Right. And you're not going to please everybody. And the right buyer is going to find that house and fall in love with it. And
no matter what we left on the counter.
Yeah, no matter what. And I'm not going to mention what she's related to or talking about. She talks about on the counter, but we did remove it and take a couple more pictures. Because that might have been what was taught. It might have ended up in one of those real estate Facebook groups where, can you believe this was in this photo?
I'll have to get in that group. No.
You probably put a few things in there, so, and Katrina, I asked you to come because you do a lot of the photos, obviously, for me, because we're friends, and I love what you do. You also take pictures of the local seniors here in our area, but you also take photos for nature, but for businesses. So the other topic I wanted to just bring up is not just in real estate, but photos in general. You've kind of taken on a branding aspect to your business, right?
I have. Yeah, I started that, just before, the world turned upside down. I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs, that are business owners, that are creative people. Even myself, like I just found myself, and as a single mom, who runs her own household type of thing. Like there's just so many things in life that I have to use businesses for,
Right.
Whether it's a discussion with a friend or it's a discussion for something I need around the home. And I realized that the thing that I've been attracted to in a business is something that I can connect with. So I really started looking at businesses in a different way, because you can look, especially nowadays, there's so much information, at our fingertips that sometimes it's really hard to decide, okay, well, is this where I want to put my money or my business or my time and energy, or is this? So I just started thinking about businesses differently and how they market and the connections that are made just through a simple photo. Because, you can read all the information about somebody, but those photos really are something that you can connect with quick while you're scrolling through, and so I put totally different spin, I think, on how I look at businesses.
And I just read something recently as far as, because as you know, I'm doing things with YouTube, I'm doing things on Facebook, and Facebook is just scrolling social media. So the photos are so important because when people are scrolling at the photo catches their eye, and then videos, as I'm putting this video on Facebook and my podcast, eventually it'll make it to YouTube. And on YouTube, people are set to watch. So they're sitting there doing that. So your marketing piece that you're doing for people is to catch their eye, right? And then they're going to go deeper into that business. And that's what I think people don't always pay attention to, is you need something. There's so much competition out there. What are you doing different? What visually can you grab people? Because what's the attention span? 8 seconds, like a goldfish, I've heard.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, is like, there are some beautiful photos, on Facebook or Instagram, they're all professional, but what is it about you that's going to catch my eye? So, this is my favorite, just little analogy is, I moved, I was in my office, but the light coming in was so crazy. So I'm in my studio right now, but like I drink tea, I don't drink coffee. So that would be something, if I was doing something for me, I would have my tea sitting there, because that's something that, a lot of people don't drink coffee, and that'd be something that I would pick up on from somebody else. Or let's just say I golf, but let's say I'm never going to have a trophy behind me, or fencing or something, you have those little tidbits of yourself, and they don't have to be those perfect pictures. It's the real pictures, those little bit of things, those little things that just tell me who you are. And, that's going to make you stand out to me and me want to do business with you, because I feel that connection. Connection is especially, in life today, is that connection. We're desperate for connection right now. And that's one way to do it, is through your photos, through your, showing who you are and not just what you do, because I want to feel that when I'm doing it. It depends on the business. If you're going to be,
Well, it goes to business too, Katrina, because you have taken my headshots for real estate. You've taken headshots for other businesses. But going back to what you talked about, we say, if I run into somebody at Wegmans, I want to be the person that I am, that they see on social media, because their expectation of me is different. Or if someone reaches out to me, kind of, they see something that I've put on social media, a photo that you've taken of me, which you have on my Shelley Hoffman website. If you go to that, those photos you see of me are Katrina, and I have a Bevo mom. You're like, you should wear that shirt because that's who you are. And you take pictures. So they're not these huge glamour shots, although, a couple of them I told you made me prettier than I actually am. But
I don't
still say it's the lighting.
It's the angle, it's the lighting, we're not static people. You know what I mean? We don't sit still all day long. So You have to have those pictures because you look different to me than you look to you. You know, when you're looking in a mirror, you're looking at this angle. You know, I might be like this much taller, maybe, I don't know. So, you know, but most people are taller than us.
Yes.
So when they see, you know, us, it's a different look. So you have to have, you know, so it's not fake. It's just you know, and it's important to really be able to show you in every light that you are, you know.
Right.
So,
well, even you know, the way that people sit, the way that you have them angled, you take that time to get to know the person. Obviously, we're friends, so you knew me, but I've watched you bond with other people at the beginning. You give them a questionnaire. You try to figure out what's important to them. Mm-hmm. But I just want to go back, like I said, even though we're going off real estate, because real estate headshots, so many times people say, well, that's not who I am. And again, in the real estate groups I'm part of in social media, people will send, do you like this headshot or this headshot? And the feedback usually is from the people that know them best and say, this feels like you.
Right.
Right. So, and that goes back to the photographs of the house. Like, you're not trying to sell something that when people walk in, they're not going to feel that's what the home looked like online, or wasn't what the home represented online. Right. So it carries over. And that's why, you know, again, I think you're extremely talented. Obviously, there's photographers in our area and across the country that have similar abilities. They know the lighting angles.
We are very lucky.
So, right. You collaborate with so many people and you just keep getting better and better every time you do that. But it's that branding. It's being authentically the house, authentically the person, authentically the business. Right.
Yeah. And that is absolutely it. Because if you're not authentically yourself in all the parts of your business, I mean, I realize, you know, we can be silly and goof around, you know, when it comes to business. Oh, I'm lucky enough that I can do that a lot still in my day-to-day business. But there are times, you know, obviously you have to be more professional. It doesn't mean that I'm not professional, nor, you know what I mean? But when you get me, I will say stuff. I mean, I have like this really bad filter, you know, that just doesn't stop me. I will jabber, you know, and that's going to be me. And that's going to be me in all aspects of my business. And I think that's important in your business. I think that's important. And I realize, you know, do I want a doctor that goofs around with me? I do. You know, do I want a doctor that knows what he's doing, or that she knows what she's doing? Absolutely. You know, so you still have to have that balance. But I'm a lot more comfortable with somebody, regardless of what their position is, what their business is, what their service, their product is, to know that I can have that full correct experience. You know what I mean? And that I'm comfortable. I don't want someone to pretend that they're one thing and then get there and just, because then you don't know what to do. You know, you just get that uncomfortable feeling, you know, and
right. And there's a flip side to that too, because you've worked with people who really, we are chatty, both you and I. And I've had people say to me, oh, I don't like that word chatty, but that's who I am. And I think even in, I do a lot of videos because I market myself much better with my mouth than I do with photos. When I need photos, I call Katrina Grady to take those photos for me. But you get who you get. But the same thing, you've taken pictures of somebody, or you've taken pictures of a house, or headshots, and that person is, if it's a foreclosure house, you want to show it like a foreclosure house. Yep. If the person is straight business and they only want to talk business, you can portray that through photographs as well.
Right.
Right.
Right. You know, and in all honesty, not everybody's going to be your client. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And not everybody's going to want that house. You know, and a lot of that, you know, is the marketing. If the marketing is done correctly, helps you save time and energy and resources, because you're not wasting your time with the wrong clients. You know, and especially when, you know, you I mean, most of us want clients. You know, I mean, let's be honest, right? You know, I mean, we're not going to, you know, we don't willingly turn people away. But there are times when you're like, you know, the stress, the extra energy or whatever just isn't necessarily beneficial to either person. Like, you want them to have the best experience and you want to love what you're doing. And so a lot of marketing it's just important to be honest, because it helps, you know, do that. And it makes everybody happier in the end, you know. And I have turned people to say, you know what, I think that this person would be a better photographer for you. You know, but just because that's just not what I do. You know, I love babies, but I'm not a really good newborn photographer. I do it, but I don't have like the same style that some people really want.
Right.
I love the natural. Like, I don't like putting babies in buckets, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and squishing them up. And I love the photos.
They come out beautiful.
I just don't do it well. You know?
Well, and that's in photography. Going back to real estate, there are some people that work really well with first-time home buyers. So again, I'm an educator by trade, so those are the people that I really enjoy working with. So I try to market it, right? When we talk about how we're going to market to our clients, that's who I market myself to a lot, is the first-time home buyers, because it's the education piece that I love. And the same thing, I know that you love attending weddings and going to weddings, and you will take pictures of weddings, you know. But again, you love the lifting people up in their businesses, and that comes across. And again, photography, I know that you don't work with a lot of people in the area here. I don't give you a choice. I just call you and say, meet me at this address. But because again, you're showcasing the home, but you love to showcase the emotions and the person. But I asked you to come on here because even though I could have asked a few other photographers in our area that strictly do real estate photography, it's your passion. It's the fact that you get how the pictures need to come across to the buyer, because it's still the emotions of the buyers that bring people into that property. Even if it's an investor, the emotion might be money, you know, money motivated, and how much money is it going to take to fix this property up. And if you showcase it like a perfect home that's going to pass every FHA appraisal inspection, and they walk in there and it's going to cost them $30,000, $40,000 to fix it, you know, we didn't properly market that property. So, well, is there anything else you can throw out as far as real estate photography, housing, or branding that you can think of?
Wow. Well, you know, honestly, when you're, first of all, if you need a realtor, Shelley's your girl. Because she, you know, and this is one of the reasons I love working with you, not just because we're friends, is because I know the passion that you have, and, you know, that you have, just that love, to help people and to do it right, you know, and that's huge, you know, and especially when you're talking about buying a home or selling a home, because it's a home, you know, and I think you bring that, and you have so much knowledge about stuff, you know, and so I'm always telling people when they ask questions like, oh, Shelley will know, because, you know, Shelley will know that.
Shelley thinks she knows everything.
Well, she knows a lot. And if she doesn't know, she'll find out. But, you know, so as far as photography for real estate, you know, it's the perfect fit, because it is a love. It's a home. It's a, you know, and I just love doing that with you because it's a home, you know, and it's the emotion, it's the connection. And so that's just what, you know, and that's what I'm trying to bring into it with the branding. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to do with women, you know, just and couples and whatever. It's so important just to feel that, you know, to feel the truth, to feel the connection. And, you know, and it translates from what I do in my studio to what we do with the photography for homes, to selling a home. It's all that, you know, that's the biggest part of your life is, you know, should be your home. And you know, it's a good blend.
Yep. And showcasing your home for the next person to come in and make it a home for themselves, that feeling. I completely agree. And I think it's the love of what we both do that makes it fun to combine the two of them when we're taking those pictures. So
like, I get excited for people. Like, I'm like, I know I'm not buying this home, but like, I will walk through it and say, well, you know, where would I put something, and what angle, you know, how would I want to walk into here? You know, so it is, you know, I walk into every home wondering like who's going to live there, and, you know, who's going to get it?
Well, in this market, who the heck knows is selling. So. Well, thank you, Katrina. I know that you have a busy schedule, and but you took the time today to talk with me, and I knew it would be fun. I don't know if anybody else found it nearly as fun as we did, because, you know, again, we laugh and we have fun, but but I enjoyed myself. So, and as always, the passion that you bring to my real estate business, for me, your own businesses, and then just to our other friends and family, I just want to say thank you very much. And
thank you.
Sure. And I will see you Friday when you're taking pictures for me at a property.
Yes. Yep. I was like, wait, what's Friday? No, yeah.
Talk with you soon. Bye, Train.
Have a good day.
That's it for this week's episode of Real Estate I Love It. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review on whatever stream platform you're using for your podcast. See you next time.